I have some new releases from Guerlain. In fact, 3 of them are very new, and the 4th one came out last year, so still fairly new. And I want to start with the one that I was very excited to pick up. I bought it the day it came out in the US, which was good because it was sold out the very next day. But this is the new Shalimar Millesime, and it is the Tonka version. And so that's what that looks like. I also have last year's, which was the Vanilla Planifolia. And so you can see they look very similar, but the color of the label is different, and the Tonka one is a little bit darker in terms of the actual fragrance itself. But I have worn this twice now, like a full wearing, and so I'm going to talk about what I get from it, what I think about it, compare it maybe a little bit to last year's release, and then I'm also going to talk about the samples that I was sent, which are Cherry Oud and Oud Nude, which are 2 of the 3 new Oud fragrances that were just released. And then the one that was released last year is Herbe Troublant. Herbe Troublant is what we're going to go with for the name of that one. But I'll talk about those in just a bit. All right, so let's get started with the Shalimar Millesime Tonka. So this was created by Delphine Jelk, I think kind of in collaboration with Thierry Vasser still, but I think he's sort of retiring and she's taking over. So I will say, I'll tell you this, when I first sprayed this, I felt a little disappointed because a lot of people were saying that this was like very close to actually being Shalimar, whereas the one from last year was quite a deviation from the original Shalimar. And so I was kind of excited to get more of the Shalimar DNA with the Tonka. However, I am not as disappointed now as I was at first, even though I don't think it's all that much like the original Shalimar. It does have qualities of it, but it does not have some of the animalic qualities or kind of the boldness of the original Shalimar, in my opinion. However, on its own, if I take away my preconceptions or what I thought I was going to get, I do really like this fragrance. So what do I get that's similar to Shalimar? I do get a resinous quality. I get bergamot in the opening right away. I would say the florals are still there, and maybe there's like an ambery accord to it for sure as well. And I will say in the dry down, I get more of that sort of like real true to original Shalimar kind of ambery dry down to this, but in the opening, it smells a whole lot like Tonka in general, but Tonka Imperial in particular from Guerlain as well. I wish I still had my bottle of that, but I don't. It's like this powdery, slightly gourmand, bitter almond kind of Tonka in this. You definitely have vanillic qualities to it, that kind of traditional, just beautiful, almost fluffy sort of vanilla that you get from Guerlain. But it definitely does smell very Tonka heavy. And in fact, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, this is like so much like Shalimar, I don't like it because they didn't like the original Shalimar. To me, it's much more like Tonka Imperial than it is Shalimar, in my opinion. But like I said, on its own, like without any of the preconceived notions, if I just bought a fragrance or if I just like got a sample of a fragrance, didn't know what it was, I would be like, this is a great Tonka fragrance, because it is. Now, there's definitely no civet in this. There's nothing that is challenging to me about this whatsoever. I think maybe because there is still that bergamot and there's some resinous qualities to it. And like I said, you can, in the dry down, definitely pick up that this is a Shalimar fragrance, but honestly, that's kind of where the overlap ends for me. Obviously other people disagree because, like I said, many people were talking about how this was like much closer to Shalimar than last year's release, and it is closer. I will give them that, but it's still not that close in my opinion. It is lovely though. This, I would say, is going to be beautiful in the fall and winter because it does have that nice cozy like I said, almost slightly gourmand, fluffy tonka in there. Almondy a bit. It's a beautiful fragrance, I won't lie. And I'm glad that like I wore it again, because like I said, when I first sprayed it on, I was waiting for like, yeah, Shalimar with just like a little bit of amped up tonka, and that's not what this is. But I do love it, and I love tonka, and I love Tonka Imperial. So I am overall happy with this purchase. If I were to compare it to last year's Vanilla Planifolia, which also was, I think, Delphine Jouk in collaboration with Terry Vassar, this one is not that close to Shalimar at all. And it's beautiful though. It does have that beautiful Guerlain vanilla in it. Sort of like, I think it's a bourbon vanilla that's in here, but it's so good. I do love this. Again, this is not like Shalimar at all. It actually reminds me most of the dry down of Shalimar, but like the vanillic aspects of it. Not all of it, but just kind of the way the vanilla plays in the base of Shalimar is what the Vanilla Planifolia reminds me of. I think these are both great. They're both limited editions, unfortunately, so I know that they can be hard to find. I would say, I mean, honestly, if you're a vanilla lover, well, if you could find this, I don't know that you can, because it's pretty much sold out everywhere. But if you're a vanilla lover, really, first and foremost, I think you would like last year's release more, especially if you're not a fan of Shalimar. But if you are a fan of Shalimar, or you're a major Tonka lover, I love all three of these things, vanilla, Tonka, and Shalimar. But I would say the new one is the one for you. Also, if you like Tonka Imperial from Guerlain as well, you probably really enjoyed this, because it does smell to me kind of like they've been mixed in equal parts. Absolutely lovely fragrance. I got pretty good longevity. It does kind of soften up. Like I said, it does not have some of the like kind of bold and animalic aspects that the original Shalimar does, but you can definitely see that this one is a cousin of Shalimar, whereas the one from last year is like a third cousin of Shalimar. So that's the newest release that I know of from Guerlain. But I do also want to talk about the samples they sent me. And so this is very much going to be first impressions for these samples. But again, they sent me two of the new ouds, which are Cherry Oud and Oud Nude. Oud Nude. And then the Herb Troublantes. So let's do the ouds first. Okay, I believe Delphine Jouk is the only one credited with the oud fragrances that were just released. So both the Oud Nude that I'm about to spray and the Cherry Oud she created. And so let's give this one a try. Like I said, this is completely first impressions. Haven't smelled them yet. It's definitely, you can tell there's oud here, but I would say this also has an almondy quality to it, just like I mean, it doesn't smell like the Shalimar Tonka, but it has kind of a similar almond note in it. Definitely vanilla and something woody. And maybe something a tiny bit fruity in here. It's okay. I don't love this. I'm also not into, now this is not a fruity oud that you may know I very much dislike. It's not that. It's definitely much more like almondy vanilla oud and woods with like a tiny touch of something fruity. But that aspect of it I don't like. I think without that I might like this more. I do think there's some sort of floral in here as well. Overall, it's light. It's not overpowering. I think this is a very approachable oud fragrance, which of course I think we all know coming from Guerlain, it's going to be like, they're not going to put out, or not anymore. Maybe, you know, if oud were popular 60 years ago, they would have put out something quite bold with oud, but nowadays, like, and I love Guerlain, and I love them because of this fact, but they make usually quite like airy, refined, just like multifaceted fragrances, but ones that aren't overpowering. They sit closer to the skin overall. Again, this is not necessarily true for all their fragrances, but overall they tend to sit a little closer to the skin, but they have this just like beautiful, like I said, beautiful refinement to them that you definitely can tell is, you know, kind of in the Guerlain style. So The more I smell this, the more I do like it. It is a bit sweet. It's probably the fruity thing doing that. And then, like I said, the vanilla. I'll have to try this on skin. I'm not 100% sure that, I mean, I don't think I would buy that, but I'm not 100% sure that I even really like it, but I don't dislike it. So that one is the Oud Nude. Let's do the Cherry Oud next. So I'm assuming this has oud and cherry, but here we go. Again, Delphine Gel Cure. Oh, this has rose in it for sure, right away. So cherry, rose, and oud. Kind of a different take, I suppose, on the rose oud fragrance. It also has a leathery aspect, but maybe that's just the particular oud that's being used. Huh. Again, I don't love this. I'm not huge, like I'm not super in love with rose ouds in general. There are a few I really like, but I do kind of like that this has a different take with the cherry in it. Not a big fan though. I think I actually prefer the Oud Nude. Yeah, I do. All right, and then the last one, which isn't as new, but it was still released within like a year ago, I think. This is the Herbe Troublantes. And this one, again, Delphine Gel's been basically credited as kind of the main perfumer recently, but I think this was still when Thierry Vasser was there as well. Or I think maybe he still is, but he's kind of more supervising now. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, I get a ton of bergamot and like orange blossom right away. This is really pretty. There's something herbaceous about it and like a clean musk to it as well. This is light and airy. It would be really nice in the spring, I think. Actually, could be nice in summer too. I think it would be nice when the weather's a bit warmer. I feel like this could get lost in the really cold weather like we get here in the Midwest in the wintertime. That's really pretty. I do like this. I'm not exactly sure what kind of herbs I'm smelling, but I feel like there's like some sort of more savory herb, but at the same time, maybe mint. Definitely orange blossom is what I believe the floral note is here. At least that's what it smells like to me. And like I said, this like light, airy, clean musk to it as well. That's really pretty. So I'm definitely going to be trying this on skin. I think this is from the Art and Material collection. I assume the ouds are too. I don't know if they're on their own separate thing or what, but that means they're more expensive either way. So definitely would have to test these before deciding if I would buy anything. But of these three samples, I like the Herbe Troublantes the most. So those are some of the new releases from Guerlain. I would love to know if you've tried any of these. Also, if you've tried the third oud, which is Oud Cole, I think is the name of it. I was hoping to get a sample of that, but I did not. So if you have tried it, let me know your thoughts on that one or any of the other ones I talked about today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.